is on, and I will turn it to pilot. And then okay, today I'm going to show you how to flush your hot water tank. It's something that the experts say, you should do this every year. And I'm like, yeah, right. People never flush their hot water tank. We just bought a new house. We have a well with lots of iron in it, and I'm guessing this has never been flushed. So, here's the things you need to know. One, where the shutoff to the water supply to your entire house is. Mine is right here where it comes in on the well. Two, whether you have an electric or a gas water heater. This is gas, so I'm going to be turning it to pilot. You don't have to turn it off, just turn it to pilot so it's not burning while it's empty. Three, which one of these is your hot and cold. The hot, I labeled it here, is coming out this side. The cold has a valve so you can shut it off coming in. The next thing is what tools you're going to need. I got 2 buckets, and I'll explain that later. You need lots of rags because water's going to leak out. A drain, where you're going to drain the water to. I have the sump pump right here, and I have a drain here, which usually goes out to your city sewer. This just leads into my sump pump anyway. You're going to need a hose, a short hose with a hose connector on one end at least. Maybe a long hose is fine, but I'm going to feed this down into the sump pump. And basically all you're doing is closing off the water to your hot water tank, turning it to pilot, draining it out, and hopefully flushing out all the sediment, sand, grit, calcium buildup, iron, everything out of there so it burns better and it's more efficient and you get hotter water. Then you turn everything back on. One key thing is, everyone mentions you do have to open up a hot water faucet upstairs, otherwise you'll have vacuum pressure and the water won't be able to come out. It's kind of like sucking on a straw. You have to open that and then the water will be able to come out. So the first thing I'm going to do is close the hot water valve going to the tank, turn the tank to pilot, hook up the hose, and then run upstairs and open the hot water valve on the sink. Okay, here we are on the back side of the hot water tank. The gas valve is on, and I will turn it to pilot. Take that cover off to get better access, and then attach your hose to this valve. And we're ready to drain it into the bucket. Another thing to note is you do not want this water to get on your grass because it's got all sorts of calcium and buildup, and it will kill areas of your grass. So after the first 2 buckets, I could start hearing water coming through these pipes here. And I'm like, I don't know how water's coming in because I closed the cold water coming to the tank. And then I remembered we have this dumb thermal regulator valve here which mixes hot and cold water to get it more, so it's not too hot going to bathtubs. So water was coming into the tank through the hot water, so I did have to come to the main water shutoff and close water to the house, and then I heard that water turn off. Okay, I've drained as much as I can out with the buckets. The water's kind of stopped flowing, so I'm assuming it's in the bottom foot. I'm just going to connect the hose to the drain here and drain the rest out through the sump. Well, it's never easy, is it? Something always goes wrong. I figure I'll just drain the last little bit into the sump, right? It wasn't kicking on, the float was caught, so I reached down and lifted up and water starts gushing out of there. It turns out the hose somehow came disconnected to the outlet pipe from the pump, and it's gushing out and gushing everywhere. I pulled the plug out. I guess it's a good thing I was here. It turns out there's no hose clamp connecting the pump to the pipe. It was just press fit on there, and with all that pressure somehow I just dropped the other hose clamp down the drain. Ugh. It's all wet. Yeah. This thing's covered in rust and sludge. Drain the hot water tank, they said. It's easy, they said. Yeah. It's always something. But I guess it's better that it happened now when I'm sitting here watching it, and not when we were out of town or something and this thing blows off and the basement floods. So, I guess it is a blessing in disguise. Alright. Let's try this again. It works. And hey, look. Found it. Okay, all the water is drained out of the tank. There's just a little bit of trickle down in the sump. And now I'm going to open up the water. Actually, first I'm going to open up the main water to the house. And then I'm going to open the water, the hot water, or the cold water coming into the hot water tank. And that's going to agitate it. Flush it all out, get more sediment out. And I can really hear it pouring in. Okay, I turned it on for a couple minutes, let it fill up, let it drain. Do it again. And this is hopefully going to agitate all that sediment out. Well, that's pretty much it. I just flushed it a couple more times and all the water was coming out clear. I really didn't see as much sediment or calcium or rust as I thought. So now I just opened up the main water to the house. I opened up the cold water coming into the tank. I closed the valve. I'm letting the tank fill up, and then when it's done, I'm going to turn it from pilot to on and go close the hot water and the faucet, and then we're all done. So one more thing to look out for when you turn your hot water faucets back on, you might get some black sludge coming through the pipes, so watch out for that. Make sure those filters don't get clogged in the bottom of the spigot. Another thing I bought, just in case that little valve started leaking, is this 3/4 inch female fitting, and it is leaking. I'm going to put it on the end so that the water doesn't just keep dripping out. I think it'll stop eventually, but I'm just going to put it on there so it doesn't keep dripping. You never want to do this on the temperature pressure relief valve. That'll make the tank explode. That always has to come out. So if that's leaking, that's another issue. But I'm just going to put this cap on the valve just so it doesn't keep dripping out. A really nice thing to have is a little water alarm. These are $5 on Amazon. It's kind of like a smoke detector for water. It's good to put by your hot water tank or by your washer and dryer. In case anything leaks or breaks and you get water in your basement, you'll never know. So this, you just set on the ground, and when it detects water, it beeps. And we had a sink clog, and this thing started beeping like that. We ran down, and luckily it wasn't a big deal, but if this thing hadn't beeped, we wouldn't know water was leaking on the floor. So this is always a good thing to have and leave by your hot water tank.
Well, I hope you liked the video you just watched. If you did, feel free to subscribe by clicking the button on this side. You can also check out all the videos I've done, the playlist from things I've built, things I've fixed, home repair, 3D printing, and on this side you can check out a recommended video similar to the one you just watched. And as always, down in the description I'll put a link to my blog, which has more pictures and more information about the video you just watched. Thanks.